The Green Bay Packers were just linked to a blockbuster trade. And yes, this is somewhat of old news in the sense that this isn't the first time this player has been brought up, especially going to this particular team. But the closer and closer we get to training camp starting, there's a level of desperation, and rightfully so, for the Pittsburgh Steelers in needing a quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers is playing Aaron Rodgers games. And so the Pittsburgh Steelers are left with, okay, we need another number two wide receiver in Pittsburgh to complement DK Metcalf because they traded away George Pickens. So they're looking for that number two caliber type wide receiver. What better guy than Romeo Doubs? What better team than the Green Bay Packers to trade with, especially because you're looking at Romeo Doubs as, he's entering the final year of his contract. So this is a guy that the Packers are going to have to either pay or trade, and he's certainly worth something when we start talking about trade value. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are certainly in the hunt to get another wide receiver to complement DK Metcalf. And Aaron Rodgers is certainly doing Aaron Rodgers things, which is, making the Pittsburgh Steelers wonder and wait. And is this dude going to be playing for us? Is he not going to be playing for us? And there's a lot of people saying that the Pittsburgh Steelers need to draw a line in the sand and force Aaron Rodgers to make a decision. And then you get the other rumors that, well, there's new Aaron Rodgers twist to the Vikings and that he was playing catch with one of the Minnesota Vikings players and he's holding out for JJ McCarthy to get hurt and get injured and for them to pick up the phone and say, hey, Aaron Rodgers really desperately need you here. We want you here. Certainly Aaron Rodgers gives them the best opportunity to win a championship as opposed to JJ McCarthy. But that being said, Aaron Rodgers is still being an absolute tool in the sense that this dude is making teams become, handcuffed to his inability to make a decision. Okay, so then you have the latest rumors coming out, not rumors, but the latest happenings coming out that the Rashad Bateman was signed to a 3-year contract extension worth $36.7 million, include $20 million guaranteed. Okay, so that sets the market for guys like Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson, again, who are entering the final year of their contract. And so you look at the Green Bay Packers depth chart at the wide receiver position. We've got Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, Savion Williams, who I'm really geeked about. I think, that guy is just, he's a Swiss Army knife. You can use him in so many different aspects. Dontavian Wicks is certainly one of those guys still that his ceiling's so high, you don't know what this dude is capable of. And you got Christian Watson, who's got this unrealized ceiling that nobody knows, what this dude's capable of. And I want you guys to leave your comments and let me know, between Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson, who would you want the Packers to give, based on the contract extension that Bateman got? The Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson would be somewhere in the ballpark of maybe a 4-year, $48 million contract extension. Should they decide to do that, leave your comments. Who would you want them to go after in a contract like that? 4 years, $48 million. Would it be Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson? Now, before you start saying that's an easy answer because Christian Watson has been plagued with injuries, again, this dude has an unrealized ceiling. He certainly has a way better ceiling than Romeo Doubs does. We know what we got with Romeo Doubs, and it's a good look. It just, is it worth what, the Packers would have to give up financially to do that? If it were me, I would go with the unrealized ceiling in Christian Watson, because take into account Romeo Doubs and all his concussions, and that's certainly going to play a factor, especially the first time he has a concussion in 2025. Okay, so you're looking at that roster, and then you bounce over to the Pittsburgh Steelers roster, and you look at their depth chart at the wide receiver position. They got DK Metcalf, Robert Woods, Calvin Austin III. They need some help. And Romeo Doubs makes a whole lot of sense. The Packers would love to gain some additional draft capital. We already know that that's what Brian Gutekunst shoots for. But you look at Romeo Doubs, his overall PFF was a 70. He had 601 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns. Look at the comparison with Christian Watson, a 70, identical, 620 yards, 601 yards, 4 touchdowns to 2 touchdowns. These guys are very identical, but yards per reception, 21.4 to Romeo Doubs is 13. Again, two different type caliber wide receivers there, but if it were me throwing some money at somebody, it would be more less than a 4-year. It would be more of a 3-year for Christian Watson, just given his health and what that looks like. Same thing with Romeo Doubs. I wouldn't be throwing a 4-year deal at him. But when you're looking at what it would take, well, the Baltimore Ravens gave Bateman 3 years, 36.7, $20 million guaranteed. That's exactly ish what it's going to look like for both Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. Leave your comments. Let me know which one you would prefer the Green Bay Packers go after, given the two wide receivers there. But interesting news here that the Green Bay Packers once again trade rumors start stirring up when we start looking at Romeo Doubs going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, it makes complete sense because the Pittsburgh Steelers are in a level of desperation to get Aaron Rodgers there. And a familiar face to Aaron Rodgers who threw to him Romeo Doubs' rookie year. And he said he really liked the camaraderie between he and Romeo Doubs. So that would certainly be a move for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are desperate to get Aaron Rodgers in-house. That would be a move that may push Aaron Rodgers over the edge. But again, that's what makes sense. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't make sense a lot of times with what he is doing and what his timetable looks like. He's certainly he's a man that goes by the beat of his own drum, and nobody knows quite what that drum is. But let me know your thoughts there. And as always, go Pack Go.